It'd help if I unmuted the program. Would that be? Is that better? Thanks, guys. Right. So one of our prop traders found this. I just emailed this out to you. Great little thing about divergences. So here we've got regular trend reversal divergence, which is obviously that's class A. And that's trend reversal divergence, and this is trend continuation divergence over here. That's obviously in an uptrend, and this is in a downtrend. So anyway, I've just emailed that out to you, and thank you, Ezio. Record. Am I recording? Yes, I'm recording, and I'm unmuted now, so all good. Just on the trades that I'm carrying, the euro dollar of my stops here. I moved it underneath this bar yesterday, last night, and there we sit. I don't see any point to move it, and no point to move it yet. So that's just chugging along. And this one, the cable got a right little boost last night, and this one, so we were in the money for all of about 10 minutes, and then she's run away from us, but still, it's really, if you're looking at it, it's really going nowhere, so we'll have to see how that goes. Lucky I only put 0.25% on it. Right. There only one email, one question so far today, so I shall just cover that, and then we'll go through the charts. There's a setup on the eSignal on dollar Swiss. All right, so on the 4 hour, for those of you who are allowed to trade the 4 hour, here we do have a downtrend. Where obviously the momentum is still quite strong behind this move. All of our RSIs in the middle of nowhere. If you believe the US dollar is going to continue to weaken, there may be an opportunity here on the 4 hour. So we'd need to, you can see this swing high. I do prefer these coming off the 50. They're stronger, such as this one here. However, if we just do a little Fibonacci there, we can see it's effectively touching the 618, or coming off the 618. And you've got a horizontal level, you could say a horizontal level there across it, either 91 or 90. Yeah. So all that stands to reason that it looks good. The question was that this ring high in the signal, because of the timing of it, you might want to go back and look at yesterday's video where we showed, what was it, yesterday or the day before? I haven't blocked them yet, and I'm not going to block them. Where I showed you how to set the timing of eSignal to match MetaTrader on the 4 hour rollover. However, going to the 4 hour here, it's obviously a different setup, but what we're seeing is the same high. And we're seeing the selling pressure here. So in effect, you could go in at that price, which is, if you like this and you know everything stands to reason, you could still go in at sort of 90.72, which on the eSignal is, that's 90.70. Well, maybe go in at 90.67. How can, yeah, so eSignal's got a few extra pips on this there compared to what MetaTrader is. So I would just go in underneath this at 72, because we're still seeing that selling pressure, which the selling momentum, which is what we want to see. Okay, and yeah, you've got about a 25-30 pip stop on that. Okay, does that answer your question? And cool. And Colin, mate, I know we've got coaching at 11:30, but I've got to go and do a 5-minute presentation to the people in that room over there. So I might be a couple minutes late online for our coaching session at 11:30. That's all right. I've got no coaching after you for 20 minutes, so we can extend it out. Right. So where are we at with the moves overnight? Moves overnight, there were quite a few. I didn't really sort of have a chance to get to the report this morning, but if you go through these, it'll give you a bit of an idea. The Aussie dollar, the greenback loonie. Interesting news on the cable from the data last night. Looked pretty flat across here, but there was a report that came out on the cable last night that government confirmed Britain's economic growth accelerated in the third quarter. There you go. Where that report was doesn't say it on our second estimate GDP 0.8. Okay. Anyway, so that's the pound. Loonie, oil is still declining. Dollar is still sort of going sideways, and yeah, Aussie still bearish. So all that sentiment is still there, and we'll see that in price as we go through the charts. Aussie still falling, is now sort of under the 91 cent level, and you'll be looking at 90 as the next sort of support. Seriously oversold. You're at 28 there, bearish there. Stochastics is, the acceleration is starting to get out of control. Yeah, so you can't sell it because it's too far gone, and there's no way you're going to buy it yet. Euro dollar looks the same as the dollar Swiss, but reversed. Do you prefer Swiss over Euro? In terms of 4 hour, well, yeah, I do because I'm in it. But the Euro dollar is more traded. It's in terms of it is the number one currency that's traded, followed by the yen, then the cable, and then the Aussie at number 4, and then I think it's the Swiss and then the Kiwi. So, or the CAD's in there somewhere before the Kiwi. So the Swiss is not as heavily traded as the Euro, but it does move similarly to the Euro because it's so closely tied to it. And that's the reason for my preference. And the Swissy generally benefits from safe haven flows as well, as does the yen and the US dollar. So yeah, I prefer the Euro to trade the Euro than the Swiss, but that's just, I'm already in that as well. Aussie Swiss, it's now on that 2%, and it's also on that support line, which I've got from my weekly around here. Yeah, again, it's all overcooked. Is there any news out that's going to stop this slide? Potentially. Aussie dollar private capex home sales. Can't see that sort of doing it. And then we've got the US holiday tonight, Thanksgiving, and it's a half day in the US markets on Friday. So Friday night's going to be even just as quiet as tonight will be. So there's really nothing going on until maybe next Tuesday, when we get our when we get the RBA meeting. Maybe that'll stop the slide. Okay, so Aussie Swiss, again, you can't sell it and you can't buy it. Aussie yen. Did I do Aussie CAD? I jumped the Aussie CAD. Okay, Aussie CAD. The loonie sliding on the back of oil, and commodity prices had another bit of a tumble overnight. It's just an inside test bar. Might get a little divergence here if it does a low test instead of a high test, and that might prove an opportunity, but still days away from trading yet. So back to the Aussie yen. Again, yen weakness overnight. Saw this battle between the bearish currencies. The support here is obviously getting stronger now at the 200 EMAs there. You know, for another day of buying, a higher high and a higher low, you might consider this, but it's really just quite messy, and you can find cleaner things to trade, but could be a bit of value there. Now we have divergence. Class C granted. And even there it's not all that flash hot. Against that slide, small divergence there as well, but you've got, just explaining to yesterday that I prefer to see, rather than from cycle to cycle, I prefer to see it that this selling momentum is getting weaker on this move, and you could look at it at this move. I mean, if you go from from this to here, it is getting weaker. You compare that kind of divergence to the divergence, rather than going from this peak to this peak, you're wanting to see it right at the end of this move. So as RSI comes across from one side to the other is when you're wanting to see that divergence. So this is not as strong as I would like to see it, especially after already taking a hit. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious on this. But that's your Class C divergence there. You prefer to see Class A when you're trying to against this major downtrend. Aussie Sing, like the dollar, there's weekly support here. This weekly support, we're right on it, but again, no sign of buyers yet, so leaving that alone. Dollar CAD, just a sec. I know he's fixing it. Not much I can do about it, but it's bloody annoying. Broken above support in a good way, and with as I noted, fundamentally the oil sliding. We're well beyond our extension zone, so we know we're in the sell zone. We're just looking for sellers to find sellers. CAD's continues to weaken. CAD Swiss should be looking pretty alright for you guys who managed to get back into it. Like me, you got stopped out on it. Or even the Euro CAD, whichever one you're trading. And guys, it is the same trade. I know if you split it, you're diversifying your risk, but it is the same trade, right? So if one's going to fail, they're both going to fail. CAD Swiss, yep, moseying along. Obviously not near the extension zones because we're not even past the previous cycle low. But yet, looking good. Not overcooked yet. Still quite a bit of movement to go on the RSI. You should be sitting happy and pretty on that. The 4 hour. Wasn't really an entry, but off the 20, but that was alright. There's that friggin' spike that took me out, mongrel thing. Yep, but looking good. And there's no entry for us at the moment on that. CAD Yen, the battle of the weakness. Who's the weakest? It really is dull. What are we talking here? 500 pip range, and it's taking months to get across there. Dollar Swiss, I kind of discussed this morning. It's a lower high and a lower low, bit sort of bullish. reverse head and shoulders. Actually, that Aussie report I saw this morning said head and shoulders. I think that must be that pattern, and this is broken down. He also talked about a Fibonacci around here somewhere. Yeah, it's getting close to that Fibonacci. That's what that report was. But anyway, sorry, Swissy. Look, if you like this, there's an opportunity on the 4 hour. On the daily, there's nothing. We're still yet to make this, beat this cycle low. Don't know if it's going to do that. You know, I'm still doggedly sitting on that weekly chart. 90 cents. Nice round number. Good. Oh, it's going back to the 80s. Yeah, good support there. And if you think about it, that if we look at the Euro Swiss, which is where the floor is, we look at the weekly on that. You know, we're 300 pips away from the floor, but that's why, you know, the dollar Swiss probably won't get through 90, because you know, I'll step into the Euro Swiss at the same time. That's a daily on the Euro Swiss, just going absolutely nowhere. Yeah, so on the 4 hour you might get a decent risk reward down to sort of this level here at 90, 89.50, 89.29. You know, you're risking 20 pips and you're looking at 90 is, you know, 80 pips, so that's 1 to 4. It's not bad. Swiss yen, yeehaw. So glad I got out of that. There's another 150 pips I could have had. Overcooked at the extension. RSI, no divergence now because it closed on its high, quite a distance away from the previous closes. Had it been a high test, you would have had clear divergence and be sitting pretty for a short, but obviously the sellers aren't here on the Swissy, they're more selling the yen. Big resistance here at $12.80. I've got that on my weekly, $12.80 for some reason. And not big resistance, just that minor thing there. When you're done with the charts, can you look at the yen to see if there's a valid 4 entry yesterday? Didn't get the chance to send me an email. Yeah, we'll look at it when we get to the end. Just remind me again if I forget. Okay, Swiss, yeah, that's a Swiss yen. Can't buy it. I'm not ready to sell it yet. Seems like a lot of these are at the end of phase 1. Not this one though. This one's not at the end of phase 1. This one's just starting. Test bar. What's it testing? Bupkis, I say. Not much at all. You know, our momentum is far from overcooked. We're sitting, still sitting around. Could be just fart-assing around like it did here, creating a head and shoulders. I tend to be of the belief that we're in a trend though. And heading back towards the 38.30. Swiss yen, woohoo, one trade you're still in. Hey, well done. A nice test of the 20 and these previous levels here on the 4 hour. Nothing to serve you yet. Again, I prefer to do it off the 50 like we did a couple of days ago rather than off the 20. Anyway, that's some of you may have got into it yesterday above this high, or the day before above this high on the daily time frame. And there's no reason for you to, you get test bars in, in an uptrend. I wouldn't freak out about them. There's, plenty of them. There's another one. unless it's actually testing a decent level, and that to me is not, that's nothing out here. So not a level I know of anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that. Just out of curiosity, yeah, that's 5 pips away from that, but as I said, I don't think that's a very strong level. Euro Aussie. Damn divergence, why don't you give me something? All of these things. Aussie dollar, look at, lovely test at $1.50, nice round level, certainly in the sell zone. Just have a look at the weekly. There's your $1.50, yeah. Off by 4 pips, but you know what I mean. And you can see it's a key level. Yeah, strong level. Nice round number. Be great to sell it if we can. The risk reward on it's not as good as the pound Aussie when we get there, but and there's no divergence. RSI, 75 is well overdone. Stochastics cooked at 92. MACD looking silly. Yeah. Euro CAD. This is the one you again. What have we got? Quite a strong horizontal level here. 43.40. I'll show you what that level is. You can see the mouses match up, that white line. So we're over that now, and if we go up a little bit to that high there, you get a few more touches across there. So that's, if you're in it, you're yet to break the high there, so there's still room to move, although your momentum's getting done, unlike the CAD Swiss, your momentum's getting overdone. Question was, would I trade this as a range? No, I wouldn't. Where, here it was pretty much range bound, and you can see the 50's kind of flatlined, and you had 2 touches on the top and 2 on the bottom, but it's broken out of that, and our EMAs are now sort of starting to get some decent angle on them again. Yes, you've got 2 touches up here now, and you've got several touches down here. I'd be looking to take it back to probably around here is where you might find a bit of support for it before it has another run at $1.50 and works off its overbought territory. Euro pound. Yeah, it's got sold off, and that's because it's getting sold off. It's an absolute mess. I think this is going to turn around though, and I'll state my argument. Argument is that we're at the end of back down here on support, and the pound has done a nice test of $1.63. Yep, that massive level. I think that will struggle to get through there. We've got clear divergence here, or Class C at least. RSI, still a bit to go on the upside, but you compare this sort of where the RSI is and where your momentums are on your indicators, and this massive level of $1.63. You compare that to the euro, which is, our momentum is at 50 compared to 67 or whatever it was on the pound, and we're nowhere near resistance. Momentum's sort of in the middle, and so it's got a lot more room to move on the upside if that's where it's going. Whereas the pound is sort of pushing up against the exhaustion and the ceilings and all that. So I expect the pound to perhaps reverse, and the euro to either trade sideways or continue up. Therefore, this thing is going to head back up towards sort of 84, 85. Would I trade it? No, I just it's freaking crap. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole, but you know, just sort of making the point. Okay, Euro yen, like the Swiss yen, just motoring on up. This one is a very strong level, unlike the Swiss yen. We've been here before a couple of times back in 2009, across here, 139, 138.77, around there. And we're getting very close to 141, which is another key level, as we can see over here back in the noughties. And that's the 618. Always knew it was going here. Of course, if it wasn't on it, I knew if you could hold above this and test it, that's where it would go. Traded the Swiss yen and then got out too early. So we're certainly up there. Again, RSI is overcooked and momentum, where he looking silly again, and there's no divergence yet, but you're in the area where you expect a change in direction. Are you guys still in this one? Long? Euro Kiwi, Euro Kiwi, Euro Kiwi. Oh good, there's two of you still in it. Nicely done. 62.30. Is that where I told you to get in there? 62.30. Or maybe you got it there. 62.80. Well, good trading, guys. Well done. Well, hang on. That's another trade I got out of too early. This one, the Euro Kiwi or the Euro Yen? Oh, sorry. Both. Oh, well, Swiss yen, you got it. There's a bit of resistance here, but you know, as I've said, I think the Kiwis, there's a lot more on the downside in the Kiwi to go yet. So yeah, looking at this at $1.70. Yeah, cable as discussed, 63, punched through it by about 30 pips. I think it was 29 pips before closing underneath it. It's now back underneath the Class C divergence. Again, you really couldn't trade this even if you're trading it as a range, unless it does two little seller bars and then you're taking it back down, but your risk reward is not really there. So what you'd be looking at this is taking it short against other currency pairs, like I've done on the pound Swiss probably a day early, but yeah, that's overcooked. There is, it's not overcooked up here. And there is another sort of previous high around 63.80 back in January 1. Here, that was the first trading day of this year. What's that? 63.80, I think it was, 85. But you can see the price will go through it before coming back. And even when it did do this up here, RSI was only in 62, so no reason why I can't turn around from here with Class C divergence. So pound Aussie, Jesus, Norm, mate, $1.80. We said it was going to get there. 79.89. That's good enough for me. Very overcooked. Clearly in the sell zone. Just a lack of divergence there, unfortunately. And a lack of divergence there. And a lack of divergence there. Just nothing in it yet. Just need to see some strength in the Aussie. I wish the RBA would piss off. Yeah. It's a wait and see on that one. And another one that's run another 100 odd pips after getting out, or 250 pips. You beauty. Again, another one that's in the zone. There's no, there is a previous high back in 2010 sitting right here. I'll show you that. that high there, which is, let's call it 72. I can't see it because it's there, but you can see it's around there. It's around the same price. This low here is sort of around there as well. So we're getting up to resistance levels. Just move that up to 72, 73.50, wasn't it? 72, yeah, around there. No divergence yet, and you wouldn't want to, bullish bar closing at its high. I'm glad I caught a part of it though. That's a little one. Pound Aussie. I know you're sick of being asked about this, but it's almost at $1.80. In the medium term, i.e. weeks, months, neither pound or Aussie look like slowing their respective moves. Do you reckon there's more to go? Pound Aussie, well, not in the medium term. I think we could be looking at 2.0 in months to come. Definitely, that's a possibility, but there would be. I would not be sort of buying this now, not when RSI is over here. I'd like to see it come back and test this area here, 75, before, and then take that long. I'm not going to take it long from here. It needs to work off this, this heat that it's got in it at the moment before I'm doing that. Pound Aussie on the 4 hour, no way, mate. No. You're not trading phase 2 on the 4 hour, which is what this is. Okay. Okay. Pound Swiss, absolute mess. Strong resistance here, as we know. Still got divergence in it. I think this one might cost us a little bit, but 0.25%, unfortunately. But yeah, there's nothing. I don't see any sort of potential in this. Look at the aggressive moves it has. I don't know why I traded this, actually, in hindsight. Aggressive moves it's got, it's just sideways, and it's like the CAD Swiss earlier in the year. Stay away from it. If you're in it like me, it's about seeing it come back down, seeing the pound reverse its trend and pushing this one back down. Pound yen. Ooh. Large resistance here at 65, 62, which is, it's gone straight through. It didn't get triggered in, and that's why you don't go in aggressively on phase 2 unless there's massive resistance or clear divergence, and Class C divergence is not clear divergence. There was Class C divergence across these 4 bars because the closes are all pretty much the same. There's certainly no divergence now. So nothing there yet. Oh, shit. Make you cry, couldn't it? Oh, $2. Stopped out by a measly few pips. That's interesting. Minor Class A divergence. You've got to be kidding me, seriously. Don't you hate it when you're right and you're not on it? I was bearish Kiwi. I don't know if this 2 is going to hold. But you got Class A, minor Class A divergence. It's almost Class C. across there. Where, I'm moving on. I don't want to look at that anymore. Again, with Class A divergence, just no sign of sellers yet. We know it's in our extensions. If you go here, you're well beyond it. Yeah. If you go on this move, we're in the zone. Yeah, and that red is that previous high there, and previous lows around here too. That's where that is. So it's starting to get into the sell zone. I want to see it come back and retest. That might be weeks away now. Big resistance on the weekly is that red line. I'll show you that. You can see that there. 130, 138.80, which is that high, that low, all this crap, and that low's there. Yeah, 103.80 area. So it's getting up there, getting close to time to sell it. This thing is starting to break down, which is good. Still room to move on the downside. Wouldn't be looking to sell this yet until you get a complete cycle underneath. This is just a sort of messy phase one on its way down, but want to see a little cycle underneath before taking this short. But I am still bearish at Kiwi yen. Would be mess. Yep, leave that alone. And dollar sing. Oh, somebody asked one of the question on the yen. What was that? You forgot to remind me. Where was your question? Wanted to look at the 4 hour or something? What was it? Where's your question? Was there a valid entry on the 4 hour yesterday? Well, hindsight's going to say yes. You'd be having a look and saying, well, it's reacting to the 382, which is quite a shallow phase 2, and it's reacting to the 20, which is quite also shallow. I prefer to be trading off the 50. You could say there's a bit of a support line there as well, being this low that it reacted to as well. Not the ideal one, because it's off. I prefer to be off the 50 fib and the 50 EMA, which is here. Yeah. So yes, hindsight says it's a good move, but in reality, you would not have taken. Probably not. Well, I wouldn't have anyway. I want to be trading off the 50 like this. Yeah. And then as in this, where on this blue box is looking where I want to sell it. Okay. Dollar Sing. I don't see anything. It's obviously broken this high. If it breaks that high, we're now in an uptrend, and we'll be looking for a cycle above it, which means dollar strength, which means tapering, which means more weakness for the Aussie. Rand. I wonder how many of you guys took this long. Oh, cool. Quite a few of you. Good work. Hey, come back here. Yeah, plenty of room to go. No entry, nothing on it. Right. Okay, how often do you use the 20 except for in strong moves? I rarely use the 20. It's just as a guide, really. When entering trade, you want to come from a position of strength, not of weakness. I rarely trade off the 20. Can you review horizontal support on? Or is it? You consider that, but left it alone. Right up. We've got people, questions flying in here. It's just a sec. Slow down. One at a time. 20. I don't. Rarely. I rarely use it. I considered it, but left it alone. Spread was 30 pips yesterday. I presume you're talking about the rand. 30 pips on the rand. It would have been a bit nasty. Yeah, I presume there's 30 pips on that. Yen. Can you review horizontal support on that being the rand? Okay, so you don't want, it's the rand you want horizontal support on. Where was horizontal support here? I've got a few highs across here. It's not strong support, but in phase 1 trading you don't need strong support. Phase 2 trading you must have strong. Phase 1 is just a horizontal level. It doesn't have to be strong. Right, so that high there, you've got another high there that would have done as a soft level. Going back onto the weekly, yeah, it's off. You've got a couple of turning points around here as well, so that's where I would have had it around 10.05 sort of area. Right. I got taken out on the Euro 4 hour last night. Can you tell me if I managed to correctly move to stop as 2 consecutive bars, then taken out after news? Yes, you would have gone in underneath this bar here. Yeah. You had 2 buyer bars, and that's a valid reason to move your stop. And that's why I moved mine from underneath here. So I've moved my stop 3 times. When I had these 2 buyer bars, I've moved my stop to underneath this, from there to there. And I've had these 2 buyer bars, I moved it from there to underneath this one, not right underneath that one. And also, if you have a look, you can see there's those lows, these highs. Yeah. Well, that low was these highs, and I thought, hey, I'll go underneath that by 13 pips. So I'm at 45. Yeah, so just underneath that. You didn't do anything wrong, no, and price is around where you got out anyway, so, or possibly where you got out. And yeah, there's a bit of bullish news on the, or tapering news again on the US. That's the danger of trading friggin' US currency pairs at the moment. Yeah, okay. That's it, guys. Tomorrow morning we shall... there's no more emails. No more emails in. So, yeah, I'll chat to you guys again tomorrow morning. Cheers.